I tutored about 5 or 6 years ago at an academy called Ivy Academy. It's in Kerrisdale. And I've done some freelance tutoring just on the side as well. What really struck me at the beginning was I was expecting students to not have very good English because I thought it was more of an ESL focus. What surprised me was that most of the students had perfect English and were extremely good students, but they just wanted to have extra schooling and get ahead. So they were generally the students that didn't need tutoring. I always enjoy working with young people. I think it's really energizing and exciting to interact with young people. So that has always been a great experience. I think that sometimes there are students there that are so overprescribed that they're absolutely exhausted by the time that they come to school. After they've spent an entire day at school, then they go to an after-school program that's 2 or 3 hours long, sometimes even on a Friday night, and it just seems like they could be spending their time interacting with friends, playing sports, taking a break, things like that. And so I was always a little bit worried about just how much they were doing, especially hearing about the other schools that they were going to in addition to the one I was teaching at. I think there's a lot of pressure here that's coming from a variety of sources, and oftentimes students feel that they must get ahead in order to be competitive and to get into the schools they want to get into. So things like the SATs and studying for that, and then just getting ahead in their grade 11 and 12 courses, there's an extreme amount of pressure. And so I know a lot of students that are going to these programs, and I'm not really sure what the solution is, because I feel like we're offering such amazing education at this school already, and that every day they're here, they're receiving hours of education and doing hours of work on it just at school. And so to go and do even more than that, I can see how taxing that could be and how exhausting that could be. And so I don't know if there's a solution or if there will be changes to that anytime in the near future, but I hope so.
So, do you personally do tutoring after school?
There are some occasions in which I do seek some help outside of school with my academic career, yes.
Mm-hmm. Just from what you hear in general, what are your impressions of tutoring?
I feel that a lot of people look down on it, and personally, I think that's basically a method of demeaning people who go to tutoring, because there's this impression that they're stupid or too dumb to cope with schoolwork, and I think that's totally wrong, because sometimes you do need some extra push with schoolwork. There's some concepts which are kind of hard to grasp, or maybe there's some extra stuff that you kind of want to work on, and I think, tutoring is a great way to move in that. So exactly, I think, people at school look down on tutoring, but personally I don't find any fault with it. There's nothing morally wrong with it. It doesn't really reflect on your capabilities as a person. It just means that sometimes you need some help, and there's nothing wrong with seeking help.
So, do you enjoy going to tutors, or are you more, against it? What do you feel about tutoring?
Well, if I need help at school, I try to perhaps do some work on my own, on the internet, asking friends, that kind of stuff. In some subjects, such as perhaps math, in which I remember last year where I kind of struggled a bit in first term, I did find somebody to help me with it. But other than that, I feel that, for my own experiences, it's basically self-help, and if that doesn't work, if the issues are too big, I resort to tutoring. So that's me.
Do you think parents play a big part in, sometimes forcing their children going to tutoring?
Well, in the case of my mom, in the case of my family, it's usually my mom's the person who's basically in charge of my academic stuff. My dad's usually working, and in that respect, my mom, when I'm struggling in school with certain concepts or with certain subjects, she speaks up and she advises me to go to tutoring. In other aspects, for example, my mom's not gonna force me to, do extra stuff outside of school. It's mostly voluntary, and it's not really coerced. It's more or less, hey mom, I really want to practice. I'm interested in programming, but I don't take programming in school, so I want to take programming outside of school. It's more or less that kind of thing, rather than my mom whipping me and saying go to tutors.